New set, let's do this. In business and in life, we're constantly faced with stressful situations and fires that we have to put out. With over 1,000 people that I've worked with in my business career, with the countless fires, challenges that we've crushed, there's 3 buckets that I've found that I can put people into. Number 1, there's the type of people that run to the fire. Number 2, there's the type of people that stand and complain about the fire. And number 3, there's the people that run away from the fire. On this episode, I'm gonna talk about this framework that I developed that helped me get clarity into how I deal with business stress and how I align my team to go conquer fires and conquer challenges that are ahead of us. Intro. What's up, everybody? I'm TK, and you are watching another Unstoppable Sunday. Here at Unstoppable, we help you live a more proactive life. Instead of feeling the Sunday jitters, instead of feeling the stress as you go into a Monday, we help you pause every Sunday and spend 30 minutes to get rid of that anxiety. The way we do that is we answer these 2 questions. Number 1, where am I? And number 2, what do I do next? All of this is designed to help us get rid of the anxiety, get it all on paper, and go into life with a more proactive approach. On today's episode, we're gonna talk about stress in business and this framework that I developed that helped me get clarity in every stressful situation, every fire that was presented in front of me, every crazy situation that I was put into. Over the last few years, with the various roles that I've been in my career, I've come to be known as a bit of the fixer. I'm the guy you call when a certain sales region is not quite going the way it should, or a certain organization is not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, or when an entire company is in trouble and something needs to be turned around. I've constantly been airlifted into situations to turn it around. Needless to say, these were all incredibly stressful situations. The thing about when you start your own company, when you build your own business, when you're your own boss, you tend to have a bit of control over the stress that you have in your life, or the type of people you let into the company and how much stress they will bring, or the quality they'll bring, or the culture they'll bring. But when you're part of a larger organization, when you are being airlifted into other organizations or into teams that you didn't quite build yourself, you don't have quite as much control. So as I became the fixer in a lot of different situations, as I got airlifted into new teams, new organizations, and even companies, I started to have to develop a brand new way of thinking about how do I actually get aligned with myself with the stressful situation, and then how do I get this team that I inherited aligned into what we need to do, into figuring out whether that team is the right team, whether I need to swap out people, all of it. And this framework that I developed actually helped me get through some of the craziest challenges that I've faced in my career over the last few years. Whether it was running Europe or running Australia or fixing alliances or even fixing Tauda, my own company, when things weren't going as well and turning it around, in all of those situations, I started to rely on this one framework to get aligned with myself and also to figure out who on the team can I count on and who are the people that are probably gonna cause us more problems than solve problems. The one framework that I started to rely on out of all the different situations that I had been on in over 10 years in business, I started to understand that people largely fell into one of these 3 buckets. When you're faced with a tricky situation, when things aren't going perfectly, when there are road bumps, when there are fires or multiple fires to put out, you're always going to get 3 kinds of people. Whether it's yourself or the people on your team, they're gonna react in one of these 3 ways. Option A is you're gonna run to the fire and you're gonna go fix it. These are the best people. These are the people that roll up their sleeves, and no matter what's going on, no matter how bad things are, they run to the fire and they say, what do we need to do? How do we fix it? How do we get over this? Option B is where it's a group of people that stand and complain about the fire. These are the worst group of people, in my opinion. These are the group of people that will not roll up their sleeves. They will not be helpful. In fact, they're gonna be the ones that'll say, oh, we tried that already, that's not gonna work, or nothing's gonna work, or it's all a lost cause, let's not even bother. They're gonna stand and complain and watch the fire.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
And then option number C, who I actually have a lot of respect for this group of people. I've come across them in my career. Option C is they run away from the fire. They say, your problem, not my problem, I'm out. And I like those kind of people because you actually know where you stand. Option A, you know exactly what they're doing. Option C, you know what they're doing. Option B, you just kind of don't know where they stand in the team. Are they in it to win it? Are they just gonna complain? Are they gonna detract you? In some cases, they actually pull you back from succeeding. So this framework I've actually applied throughout the course of my life to understand where do I stand and where does my team stand and how do we actually go over the fire. The question becomes, in a given situation when there's a fire, how do you know which one you're in and how do you know where the rest of the team is? And by the way, there is not always an obvious answer for all of these. Every situation is different, every circumstance is different, every person is different. Their goals and their intentions and their actions are all going to be different. The first thing that I do when facing a stressful situation, when facing a fire, is I first try to get aligned myself on where do I stand in this situation. Now, there are very clear principles that I follow to figure out which bucket I'm gonna fall on. But let's take the easy one first. Option B. Option B, in my opinion, is the worst place to be. I don't want to be that guy, and I don't want a person on my team to be that kind of person. And so the first thing that I do is I make sure that I rule out option B. That's a non-negotiable. I'm not gonna be doing option B, and no one else in my team is gonna be doing option B, and I make that very clear. And then I start to figure out, all right, just for myself, TK, for this current situation, do I choose option A or option C? Do I go run to that fire or the multiple fires that are in front of us? Or do I go and do option C and say, I need to gracefully exit out? Now, let me be very clear. I have always prided myself as being the guy that runs to the fire. No matter what fire it is, no matter what circumstances, no matter what situation. In fact, this whole ethos around Unstoppable is developed from the idea that I constantly ran towards fires. Running towards fires. Fires exist because there are opportunities, and therefore running towards fires has always been a mantra of mine. If there's a fire, I'm like, that's an opportunity for growth and advancement and more. So I'm gonna go run to it. But over the years, I've started to come across situations where that's not always the case. It's not always the best option for yourself or for others or for people on the team. And so I started to develop some principles around when I choose option A and when I choose option C. I essentially came up with 4 scenarios where running to the fire is actually the right thing to do. So as long as one of these are met, you're good to go. You should run to the fire if A, it's your duty. If you started the fire, if you are deeply connected and with the people you owe them, like if there's a duty for you to go solve that fire, duty calls, you need to go solve that fire. So that's principle number 1 for me. And then if there's growth, advancement, and rewards and upside to be had, if there's growth, advancement, and rewards and upside, then you run to the fire. In so many cases in my career, I ran to the fire and it helped me grow. It ended up giving me jobs that I had no business having in the first place. It gave me at-bats and it showed everyone what I was capable of. It gave me rewards, outsized rewards, because I ran to the fire, because I stepped up to the plate, and because most importantly, I asked for the ball when the game was on the line. So often people try to shy away, they try to shrink, or they try to run away because the game is on the line and it's scary to be the guy that has the ball. Or it's because it's all messed up and it's not easy. If you're looking for growth in your career, if you're trying to figure out, well, how do I get ahead? How do I climb up? How do I actually do 10x amount that I'm doing? Look for fires and figure out when there's growth, advancement, rewards, and upside, go run to the fire. So whenever any of these are met, I go and run to the fire. Now, there have been situations where I run away. And I don't like to say it's run away, I like to call it gracefully exit. However, in my experience, I've had people on the team that just ran away. They just disappeared. And I've had people that sat me down and said, look, TK, I just can't stick around for this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna move on. And so for the people that gracefully exit, I have a ton of respect for them. For the people that just run away and opt out, I also have respect for them because they didn't waste my time. They didn't tell me they're gonna do one thing and did another thing. They were very clear about what they were gonna do, their actions and their intentions. Again, going back to it, it's the people that stand and complain that are the worst, but the people that run away, I've got respect for. And you should figure out, if you're not gonna run to the fire, how do you make sure that you need to run away? And I always think about these 4 things. There are 4 specific scenarios where you need to just like run away. A, if it's a toxic culture. If it's a whole toxic environment, it's a toxic culture, things are just messed up and it's just not good for you, and you're getting sick or mentally depressed, you need to plan your exit strategy. This is not your fire to deal with, you should run away. The second is there's no upside, meaning you can go run to a million fires, but at the end of the day, you have a fiduciary responsibility to yourself and your family. And so if you're not getting any upside for taking on the challenges, then why do it? You should reconsider. Number 3 is it's a fool's errand. So often in business, people are sent on fool's errands. Don't run or go on a fool's errand. If there's not even a 1% chance that you're going to be successful in solving the fire, if there's not even a 1% chance, and that's not a very high bar, you're on a fool's errand. If all the odds are stacked against you and there's no upside and there's no reason for you to stay, then you're on a fool's errand. And then the last one, which is a little bit harder to calculate, and you can never get the perfect math for this, but you'll kind of know when you see it, is the opportunity cost is too high. At the end of the day, we're not fighting wars, it's just business. And at the end of the day, we have our own personal responsibilities. And so if the opportunity cost is too high for you to go fight this fire instead of going and pursuing this other thing, and there's no duty for you to go solve that fire, then you should probably run away, or as I like to call it, gracefully exit. Now, once you've clarified options A, B, and C for yourself, the thing that I do next is I do one-on-ones with each of my teams. So every single time I get airlifted into an organization, a department, a region, or a company, first I get clarity for myself. Am I in it to win it? Am I choosing option A or option C? And have I established option B, which is standing around and complaining or just being complacent, as a non-negotiable? I'm not gonna do that. Once I've gotten clarity in that, I start to do one-on-ones with every single leadership person in the team, as many members of the team, to try and understand and vet out what kind of people are they. Now, there's an art to this, there's no science, you're never really gonna know because people's circumstances differ and business circumstances differ. But what you're trying to do in those one-on-ones, what I try to do is I try to figure out, is this the type of person that runs to the fire, runs away from the fire, or even worse, are they gonna just stand around and complain? And what I do from there is I try to figure out how I can identify the people that are ready and willing and see the opportunity to go run to the fire. And then I try to figure out, how do I create the incentives so that they have the upside to go run to the fire and they are rewarded handsomely. The best part about this framework is not only does it bring clarity to the team, the best part is as I'm having each of these one-on-ones, as I'm going into every meeting, as I'm going into fixing the problems, as I'm going into understanding the full lay of the land, I am doing so with 100% conviction. You can see it in my eyes, you can see it in my mannerisms, you can see it in my interactions. People will know unequivocally that I am running to the fire and that I'm all in. Because I spent the time sitting down and figuring out, am I gonna run away? Am I gonna run to the fire? Or am I just gonna stand and complain? I did the work. And so in every interaction, it shows that I'm all in. And because of that, I'm able to vet out and clarify for the people that are running to the fire that there is going to be upside for them. I am able to send a message that it is not allowed, absolutely not allowed for people to just stand and complain. Please leave if that's what you're going to do. And it sends a message to the whole team that says, okay, we're going to go change things. So no matter how bad the situation, I'm smiling. No matter how crazy the problems are, I'm smiling. Because all problems have solutions, and I've committed for myself to go run to the fire and solve for it. I look at every challenge in life like a bank heist, and I've consistently approached all of these challenges with a proactive approach, and I've reaped incredible rewards for it. And so the next time you are stressed out because of a business problem, you are stressed out because there's too many fires to put out, you need to ask yourself, you need to get clarity for yourself. Am I gonna go run to the fire? Am I gonna stand and complain, or am I gonna run away to the fire? And once you do that, you need to get clarity with your team. You need to become a leader, you need to step up, you need to create the energy for yourself, and you need to go after the problem and the fire with your team and say, we're gonna go solve that fire. Here's the upside and here's why we're gonna go do it. I'm committed, are you? Here at Unstoppable, I do episodes like this, living a more proactive life. And living a more proactive life applies to our personal lives and in our business lives. It teaches us the principles, the skills, and gives us the tools so that we can take an approach that doesn't just react to the things that are coming at us, but actually takes a proactive view. If you're interested in living a more proactive life, if you want to stop feeling the Sunday scaries, the Sunday jitters, if you want to just be stop counting down to the weekends, then we have an entire book for you. I'm super pumped about it. We're launching the Unstoppable book soon. There's a link below to our free Unstoppable Life Planning Guide. It's a mini version, and it also shows you how the book differs and the physical edition of the book, what that's gonna do. I'm super pumped about it. You should follow the link below to check it out. It teaches you all the core principles around how to live a more proactive life. Most importantly, just remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life, but yours needs to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you next Sunday. This has been another episode of Unstoppable. Actually, cut that part out. Let me do it again.